Jay Collins.
Chuck Thunderloo.
Seamus O'Toole.
Bobby O'Shea.
I'm ready to get drunk.
Take me a bicycle, clown!
John Ryan.
Claire Cleary.
I always knew my first time would be on a beach. We're gonna be so happy together. I love you.
I got a stage 5 clinger.
I need some alone time with her.
I'm terrified of this broad.
Here you are.
Hey, is your brother okay?
Cause I'd find you.
Everything's ready for the quail.
I got this!
Shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Chats and Chill channel. I'm your host, SharionSade, and today we are recapping one of the funniest movies of all time. 80% of the quotes in my vocabulary come from this movie, starring Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams, Christopher Walken, Bradley Cooper, Wedding Crashers. I absolutely love this movie, if you couldn't tell already. I cannot talk about this movie enough. I'm so excited to recap, and I already know 80% of this video is probably going to have to be cut because I'm going to ramble, but I freaking love Wedding Crashers. It is so funny. First of all, before we even get into the recap or the welcome, I just have to say, the Wedding Crashers cold open is one of the best cold opens in cinema history.
7 years I've been a good mother. Just remember when we went out. Just remember how you upturn a bench. Don't you fucking talk about me being a mother. I hate you.
Why don't you just kiss my left nut?
Let's see, that takes us to frequent flyer miles. We're going to split them right down the middle. How'd that be, Mr. Kroger?
I earned those miles. Yeah, you earned them flying to Denver to meet you. She is a stripper, for God's sake.
She is not.
Her name is Chastity. She is.
The way this movie opens at mediation with a couple who's trying to divorce and they're mediating their divorce. All I have to say is, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Go comatose for me, baby. Hillbilly. Like, I could talk about this movie all day. We're going to actually give this the proper recap. I'm going to have to stop fangirling and we're going to have to do this right. It's also got several of my favorite actors in it. Rachel McAdams is one of my favorite actresses. I absolutely love Owen Wilson. I love Vince Vaughn. Christopher Walken is a legend. Bradley Cooper, how could you not love him? Isla Fisher is freaking hilarious. They were firing on all cylinders. We have to get into it, so let's get started. We open up with a very cold open right in a divorce mediation with Jeremy and John, their attorneys who are mediators, and they're helping this couple divvy up all of their assets as they're trying to separate, obviously for infidelity. The husband was cheating with someone named Chastity, and she is apparently trash, according to the wife. And then, of course, the woman that he's wishing would go comatose is his wife that he's divorcing, the one that said the iconic phrase, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. This opening is fantastic. I absolutely love everything about this. And the funniest part about this scene is that several of the statements made in this breakup, in this mediation, John and Jeremy say to each other when they have a friendship breakup later in the movie. It's like they held on to those phrases and they use them at each other.
She is white trash.
White trash?
Hillbilly.
Hillbilly? What?
It's a rom-com, but it's also just a flat-out comedy. Like, if you took the romance aspect out of it, it would still be a phenomenal, hilarious comedy movie. As a matter of fact, I actually don't care for the romantic part of this movie. I think Claire was the villain in this story, and I will explain why afterwards. I don't mind the romance aspect, but it's not needed. I think it makes it funny, not just because he was a liar, but because she was not sure what she wanted. And I'm 100% sure after she dated John for a year, she just took her ass right on back to Sade. So anyway, we open up in a divorce mediation. John and Jeremy are just ping-ponging off of one another. Clearly, they work very well together, and they manage to harness this extremely intense mediation that is going off the rails and direct the energy back into the separation. And they managed to make it a semi-amicable separation where they both end up compromising. So clearly they work really well together. And I also love that we get to see their rapport. They're very comfortable. They finish each other's sentences. They actually hype each other up. I love a dynamic where both friends are each other's hype man, and that cannot be overstated for John and Jeremy.
There had to be some nice moments during the courtship, maybe.
The wedding had to be fun.
You got the decorations. What'd you have to eat?
Crab cakes.
Are you kidding me? How can you not have a good time eating crab cakes? Great band. It's a bad band. It's like pizza, baby. It's good no matter what. There's music in the air. Hey, shout now. Jump up and shout now. Just a couple of kids who like to fuck trying to make it honest. I get it.
These two guys are mediators, but they are also part-time wedding crashers. In wedding season, spring and summer, they crash weddings to meet women, and not just meet women, because they're not trying to marry these women. They're not just trying to fulfill a romantic need. They're not trying to plan the rest of their life. I mean, you're meeting these women at a wedding. I would assume that the future is in your mind. No, they just want to sleep with them. As a matter of fact, when they run into the women later, they have several plays from their playbook to help them avoid having to re-interact with these women.
Isn't that the girl you hooked up with? We're gonna do number 10 from the playbook. Here she comes.
Slow-mo, don't you remember me?
I'm so sorry. Shlomo had a scuba diving accident. He doesn't remember anyone, even me, his own brother. I'm just some nice guy who helps him out.
I really wish they had crashed my wedding. They know every tradition. They do their homework. They have their personalities and their names. Every time they go to a different wedding, it's a different character. It's a different personality. They have different jobs. They get fun and creative. Low key, they should have been doing community theater, but I don't think that culminates in them getting to sleep with random women. So maybe it just doesn't work out for them. We see John is starting to wear down. Jeremy could not be having a more fun time. And we also learned throughout this compilation and their dialogue back and forth that they are not the first iteration of these wedding crashers. This was passed down to Jeremy through his mentor. His mentor's name, Chaz. You bite your tongue. Chaz is a legend.
What the do you want? I'm John Beckwith. I'm friends with Jeremy Gray.
Come here, brother. Give me a hug.
Chaz is played by Will Ferrell. Could you have a funnier cast? Will Ferrell's reveal, the way he walks into the scene in his first scene is just so freaking iconic. And if you know, you know. I never know what he's doing back there. Meatloaf! We quote this movie every single day. Wedding Crashers and Cooley High are the two most quoted movies in my household because Cooley High is my second favorite movie of all time. These rules and this tradition was passed down from Chaz to Jeremy, who then taught his best friend John how to crash weddings. And they don't just do this at random. There is a way to go about it. There's a wedding crashing protocol. There is an entire rule book. And I mean, every time they quote a rule, it gets up into the thousands. And some of them, I could tell they were making them up on the spot, but shit, maybe not. They were very thorough. We see them coming to the end of wedding season. John is very happy. And they do this at the Lincoln Monument where they just share a toast and a bottle of champagne. And they're like, hell of a wedding season partners. So clearly this is an annual thing, but it has a start and it has a finish. You know, too much of a good thing turns into a bad thing. It's then that they learn of the Cleary wedding. Now, the Cleary family are a political family in the United States, and they call themselves a great American family. And they also talk about breeding with other great American families, the Lodges, the Kennedys. It's kind of got a little prestige about it. This is such an innocent movie, I'll be real, but something about them saying another great American family, it feels real Daughters of the Confederacy energy. Like it's just not great. And maybe that's because I'm from Texas. Like certain things are dog whistles. And I do recognize that there are like families that are like American legends and things like that. Like I get it. I'm one of the people who is obsessed with like the Kennedy curse and like knowing all that. But yeah, like every time they said it, it was just like, okay, whatever. I see why Claire want to leave. The patriarch of the Cleary family is the Secretary of State, and his father was also Secretary of State. His family has grown up in politics. They even got John McCain to actually make a cameo in this movie to kind of legitimize them as a political family. We also learned that John, played by Owen Wilson, he loves the Clearys. Secretary Cleary is one of his heroes because he studied business in college. He is an admirer of his work. And so at first, when Jeremy is like, hey, we've got one more wedding, the Clearys, this is going to be the best crash of all time. Like, this is a pretty big deal. And John is just not enthused. It catches Jeremy off guard because Jeremy's like, not only is this the best crash ever, but this is your hero. Why wouldn't you want to go and celebrate his daughter's wedding? And he kind of has to do a little convincing for John to decide to crash this freaking wedding. He manages to convince him that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity and something that would be personally beneficial for him. And he acquiesces. He even says, could be fun, because it's clear that he's tired. He even said his feet hurt. Jeremy convinces him to go to the Cleary wedding and they decide to crash it. As they're out there talking, they happen to see William Cleary. And we see several members of their family walk by, and one of their daughters stops, the middle child. Now, it's easy to tell all the daughters apart. The oldest one is Christina. She's a blonde. The middle one is Claire. She's a brunette. And the youngest is Gloria. She's a redhead. They all have very different personalities, but they are written really well for an oldest, middle, and a youngest. And Claire is the consummate middle child. As a middle child on one side, I never endured the I'm never seen and people forget about me and I'm not the oldest and make you proud. I'm not the youngest and I'm cute. I'm just in the middle. I never had that. And so I have learned about the middle child syndrome, but I never experienced that as a middle child, but I'm also the baby on the other side. So maybe that's it. But Claire is all the worst things they say about middle children. We'll get there. So Claire stops to say hello to James Carville and John McCain, and are actually narrating the movie and sharing behind the scenes stuff. Owen Wilson goes, and this is the moment where I see Claire, and I guess it's love at first sight, as you can tell because they slowed it down. And he immediately has more of a stake in this. Like now he's like, whoa, I don't want to just crash this to sleep with her. She looks like forever. Like he immediately identifies like, this is different. This feels different. Once the wedding begins and the bridesmaids walk in, that's when Jeremy and John pick their ladies. So when he sees Gloria, the youngest sister, Jeremy goes dibs. And Owen Wilson's character, John, goes, she's all yours. So he identified Gloria right out the gate. He knew he wanted to sleep with Gloria. Because again, he's still on demon time. But we know that John is feeling something different for Claire just from seeing her outside. And so when he sees her walking in as a bridesmaid, he can't take his eyes off of her. Rachel McAdams has done a lot of different looks in her movies. We've seen her as a redhead in The Notebook. We've seen her as a blonde in Mean Girls. We see her here as a brunette. We've seen her in all kinds of ways. But I have to say, she's done a movie called State of Play, and it suited her so well. I'm not a big fan of the hairstyle they gave her in this movie. I don't really know why they gave her curls at that very weird length. They should have either cut it into a bob or let her grow it out or just not done the curls. It just looked so weird to me. And Rachel McAdams is an absolutely beautiful woman. There's so many ways they could have done her hair. And I hate the look they gave her. As they're doing their vows, I will cut Claire some slack. These are some weird ass vows. They decide to do their vows in the theme of sailing because they're big on sailing. And instead of saying, I will be your best friend, your husband, your wife, and till death do you part, they say, I'll be your captain and your first mate. And it is awkward. But and it was kind of silly, but it worked for them. And that's actually an indicator that they're going to have a pretty good marriage because they speak their own language. They know what works for them. They have a lot in common, so much so that they don't mind looking silly in front of everyone just to make the other one happy. That's a good sign. But clearly Claire doesn't want good things because this heifer stood up there and was laughing at her sister. She's also the maid of honor. Bridezillas exist. But what also does not get nearly enough screen time or get talked about enough is jealous people surrounding the wedding. Weddings and funerals bring out the worst in people. And there are people who get in their feelings when they feel like they haven't hit a certain benchmark or it's not their turn yet. And they subconsciously try to ruin the wedding. And instead of just saying, I'm going to bow out because it's just not right for me right now, they sabotage the wedding and they do little passive aggressive or even overtly aggressive things. What Claire did was rude as hell. It was so disrespectful. Sure, it was funny. And it kind of gave John the idea like, oh, she's not snooty like everyone else. And we kind of have the same humor. And it was something that, again, he connected with on a different level. So we do get that. But the way she stood her ass up there and laughed at her sister's vows, I hate that scene. I don't think it's funny. It actually makes me so cringy. I don't like it. And when Christina turned around and gave her the evil eye, as she should have, then Claire was like, I have a tickle in my throat. No, you're jealous because you've been dating Sack for 3 years and he hasn't popped the question for you. And you have middle child syndrome and you always want all the attention and you're jealous of your sister because she looks flawless and you're standing there looking like you have straw in your hair. That is why Claire acted like that. I hate that scene. I'm sure the vows are like, girl, what the hell are y'all doing? But it didn't deserve more than a chuckle. This heifer was like irritates me in that scene. And if Christina had knocked her ass down them steps, I wouldn't have been mad. I would have said, see, this is when you need a bridezilla. Fight her. At this point, they're at the reception. John is able to finally meet Claire at the gift table, and she is helping out. And he makes some funny banter by predicting what's in each box, and he's very close, and he's getting them right as far as who sent what, and he's nailing it. And it's clear that Claire is so intrigued, but before he can actually sink his teeth into the interaction, her mother, Kathleen, is like, hey, we need you for pictures, and she has to walk away. He is there to meet a woman, but he's also there to meet William Cleary, the Secretary of State, his hero since business school. Jeremy, however, he's eating the crab cakes. He is a full-on wedding guest. He is having the time of his life. It's business as usual for Jeremy, and I actually love it. He was eating those crab cakes. Those crab cakes looked so good.
It must be sprinkled. Okay. Did you see any crab cakes? Get your hands on something. I love the crab cakes.
John runs into Secretary Cleary. He's at a table alone, and this is his opportunity to speak to him. So he goes up and he talks to him about a position paper that he read of William Cleary's in college, and it impresses William Cleary, who invites him to sit down. And as they continue talking, John also implies that he likes to sail his boat. This is not true. So he's also putting the spin on this interaction the way he does with women when he goes to weddings. Like, he's turning on the charm, he's creating a character so that he can connect with someone. But this time it just happens to be his hero. All of this goes really well. So William Cleary invites John to have a stogie, a cigar. And so they go out and they have a cigar, and it's clear that they're connecting on a real level, because then William Cleary opens up to John's son is very emo. He clearly looks like something is just a little bit different. And they play it up like an oddball, but I think he's just a unique guy with a different set of interests. But I also think there's a repression happening. They imply several times that he might be in the closet, but they play it for laughs. If we were going to build this character up and have this character development, I feel like it could have just been part of his story. Now, the things he does do to his repression, that was funny. But I don't like when the grandmother takes aim at him at the dinner table. We'll get there. And so William Cleary points out to John, he points his son out, and he was like, that's my son. He has every advantage in the world. He had more advantages than I had, and he just doesn't know what he wants to do. And the only thing he ever talks about is his art. You know, every time I try to support his art, all he does is pour his own blood onto a canvas and dribble it with a stick. And John is like, to some people, that's art. He said, just keep in mind, you cast a really big shadow. It might just be hard to walk in your footsteps because he may never live up to that. He might just want to find his own way. It was such an insightful moment. And I actually love that he advocated for William Cleary's son, because it could have been really easy to punch down. He's trying to impress this very important man in American politics. This is also someone who is a personal hero of his. He's also angling to get to know his daughter. So there's a lot at stake for John, where he could have just gone along to get along. And it actually was a moment of integrity that we learned that the character has, because he was honest and he advocated for a vulnerable party. I love that. This movie does a great job of showing their personalities, because it could have been easy to make them these stereotypical just dude bros who are just like, dude, where's my car? Let's sleep with women at weddings. And they actually made them well fleshed out characters who have goals and dreams and integrity, and they're real people. They just have this flaw that they want a lot of women, and they found a way to go about it. But as far as the people, as far as the characters, they nailed it with their character development. And so he advocates for him, and William actually sees his insight.
Tell that mean ocean.
It's a start.
William Cleary clearly took John's advice, and he says, that's right, Todd, you tell that mean old ocean. Like, this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because listen, that is a real conflict that a lot of people can relate to. A lot of parents have children that are so unlike themselves. They go through that issue, or they have to go through that development phase of learning how to support someone who is the complete opposite of you. And you want to be in their corner, and you just genuinely don't know how. Like, I don't know how to support a person with these types of interests. What do I do? But when they learn and adapt and apply, it is so beautiful. And so we see William Cleary try to support his son. It doesn't necessarily turn out well, but it's a great first step. So as they're wrapping up their conversation, Claire walks over to let her dad know that someone is looking for him. So he walks away, leaves Claire there with John. And now this is John's second opportunity to talk to her. And as he's talking to her, she notices that, oh, wow, a lot of people are enjoying your presence at this wedding. She chalks it up to a lot of people here just ass kissing. Basically, she's saying because her dad is Secretary of State and this is a very political wedding that people are here networking, that they're just doing it to brown nose. And he's like, no, I think people are here because they believe in true love. And this is when she goes, what's true love? Now, Claire is not old by any means, but she's grown as hell. And I don't know. I feel like this is a weird question to ask a stranger, but we'll see. But he says it's recognizing your soul's counterpart in another. And she goes, it's kind of cliche, but I like it. And that's when she tells him she's giving the speech as the maid of honor. And she's nervous, but she's going for funny. And she shares the speech with him. This speech is rude as hell. She is such a middle child. Her big sister is getting married and she laughed loudly throughout the wedding, and she was standing right next to her. She was a big distraction. And then she gave a wedding speech that completely ripped her sister apart.
I never thought that my sister would find someone who cared about what other people thought as much as she did until I met Craig.
What the hell? And so he takes the bicycle, he walks off. And why did Jeremy, played by Vince Vaughn, go, don't say thank you?
You hyena. Don't say thank you.
Hyena. Like, are you kidding me? Like, let the child live. So Gloria walks over, asks him to dance, or she starts flirting with him and he asks her to dance. And he is a phenomenal dancer, so much so that Secretary Cleary actually noticed. And then he pulls out one of the characters from his playbook. He's a tortured soul, broken man. It's this thing they do to seem sad where they share a sob story and then they walk away so that the woman will chase after them. They can get her alone and then they can make sure something goes down consensually. It works. And he and Gloria have sex on the beach. Now, once they were done, he's like, okay, let's get back to the wedding. The allure of you, Red, is over. He's done. And she goes, I always knew my first time would be on a beach. And he was like, your first time? And she was like, I was a virgin. And so he's like, now they are so thorough in their wedding crashing that they also have a rule book on what types of clingers there are. So people who get attached to them. And in their rule book, they have stages. And the biggest, most clingy stage is stage 5. Virgins. She's a stage 5 clinger. So he goes up to John, who is just now watching Claire walk away with her boyfriend. And he's like, hey, we got a stage 5 clinger here. We got to go. We got to get out of here. Gloria finds Jeremy, who's been hiding from her. And she was like, we're all going to go back to our little house on the beach, on the shore. And we would love it if you come. Now, when she says little house, I'm thinking of 4 or 5 bedroom home because this is a big political family. This is a mega mansion. It's big. And it's beautiful. This would have been my main house. It would have been a generational home. And because John wants more time with Claire, he volunteers them. He goes, yes, we would love to. And so she goes and asks her dad. He says no. She throws a tantrum. I mean, a real tantrum. And this scene is so funny because you see behind her, Kathleen, her mother. Her mother looks at her and she's like, oh, girl. So now we know how the kids ended up that way. We know why Claire freaks out at weddings when other people are getting attention. We know why Gloria acts a damn fool. The mom and the dad are just indulging them. The mom is an abandoner. She completely tunes out and the dad indulges because he's weak. It's a mess. So the only one who's not a brat is Todd, and that's just because he's tortured. Who knows? If he were doing well, he might be a brat too. These parents don't know how to raise kids. Also, side note, poor Christina. She did nothing wrong, and all of her siblings acted out at her wedding. What a travesty. First, her younger sister, her maid of honor, laughed at her vows and then ripped her to shreds in her maid of honor speech in front of everyone she and her new husband know. Then her youngest sister, Gloria, doesn't even appear at the reception because she's sleeping with someone on the beach. She didn't even bother to sit in her seat, so there was a gap at the reception. And then on top of that, she throws a tantrum in the middle of the reception, completely distracting everyone. And then her youngest sibling, or one of her younger siblings, Todd, her only brother, screams at the ocean and shoots his dad a finger while everyone is trying to enjoy their nice time. And then you see Gloria's wedding later in the movie, and Christina is being the perfect bridesmaid, and she's being so sweet and in the background. And even in that wedding, Claire interrupts that wedding, takes the first kiss of the wedding, and she leaves, and he acquiesces, and she goes, and she was like, he'd love you to come. Girl, we had to watch you practically burn this place to the ground to get him to say yes. So when she says he'd love you to come, girl, Anyway, live in your delusion, queen. I love it. So they go back to the house and they decide they're going to play touch tackle football. It's a family tradition, Cleary family tradition. This is when we get a little bit more insight about everybody. Now, first of all, Claire is the consummate cool girl. She's not like other girls. She plays football with the guys. She doesn't stand on the side and drink iced tea. She plays with the guys. It's touch tackle. Are you serious? She's not in any real danger, but she's playing football with the guys while the rest of the women sit on the side. So again, they're trying to show us like she's not like everybody else. She's special. And so they're playing, and Sack could not be less interested in his girlfriend and what she's over there doing with John. He is competitive. He and William Cleary are so competitive, and it's clear that William Cleary knew Sack's dad. And so he's telling him legends about his dad playing football and then playing football together. And so they are playing very hard. You wouldn't know this was a touch tackle game because the way this man was mowing down Vince Vaughn or Jeremy, it is hilarious. And every play, Jeremy is getting hurt because he's not actually touch tackling him. He is taking him out, and he's a huge guy, so it's having a big impact. And at one point he goes, "Big tree fall hard." That's a sack lunch. So anyway, John is like, every time he tries to talk to Claire and like segue this into a special moment, and they do have a couple of moments where he gets to hug her because they're playing and they get to flirt a lot in front of her boyfriend and her whole family. Like, girl, Claire is an asshole. Like, she was flirting with this stranger she met today in front of her boyfriend. Girl, if you don't like him, just leave him. Break up with him. Break up with him. You are not married. You're not even engaged. Dump his ass. Why are you sitting here in front of everybody flirting with this random man? Anyway, Anyway, I do not like her. I love Rachel McAdams now, but Claire is the villain. And that's when we get a glimpse of what type of guy Sack is. He's telling the family a story while they're waiting for dinner to be prepared. And he's telling this story that is very self-indulgent about how he helped sea otters who have been victims of an oil spill. And this was improv by Bradley Cooper. Kudos to him, because this story is so ridiculous. If somebody told a story like that at my family function, I would go home. I would just abandon the family. I'm like, it's either him or me. I'm not going to listen to another goddamn otter story. He's telling this story. Clearly, he is a lot. And so it annoys John where he's like, you know what? Actually, yeah, let's go dark. And so he takes these eye drops, and at dinner when they're saying the prayer, he pours them into the water. So eye drops don't have a smell. They're non-detectable, but they will make you very sick. But they'll give you like food poisoning symptoms. But I'll say this. I learned, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard someone talk about this, and they said if you give more than like one drop, it could really hurt the person. And that's if they don't have pre-existing medical conditions. So it is not a good prank. It is dangerous. So don't put anything that's not supposed to be edible into edible food. Don't put anything in anybody's food. Leave people food alone. But in this movie, it works. Sack ends up getting sick and having to leave dinner. Gloria is fondling Jeremy under the table and completely distracting him. And they're being grilled with questions because they're the new guys. And Jeremy can barely answer questions. Claire says she's going to go take a walk. John joins her outside after being accosted by her mother in the bedroom, who made him fondle her chest. But then he finally makes it out to Claire. They're having a really fun conversation. And that's when her dad interrupts him and is like, hey, Sack is actually really sick. Go check on him. It's this moment when she checks on Sack that we learn just how cruel Sack is. He's a complete phony. We know that he's hyper. We know that he's eccentric. He's got a lot of energy. We know he's this eccentric jerk. He's that, but that's also part of the calculated version of him. He's an asshole to Claire and semi-abusive. Now, he's absolutely verbally abusive. So let me not even say semi. He's verbally abusive to Claire. He's very cruel to her. He's not kind. When she offers him some help, he calls her a kid. He speaks down to her. He insults her, and she is so patient with him. And so she gets him a 7-Up or something, and then she goes to bed. Now, her room is down the hall from where they're having Jeremy sleep. And there's one moment where the beautiful song Sparks by Coldplay plays. This is the perfect scene. If this movie had to be a rom-com, it was just so they could have this scene, and it's worth it. But she's walking down the hall and she's like, I actually want to go talk to John some more. So she goes down the hall and then she second guesses it. And then she goes back to her room. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. John also has a moment where he's like, maybe I can talk to Claire. So he goes down the hall and he changes his mind as well. And we clearly see the longing. Now, in one of my other recaps, I talked about how sometimes in movies, they don't nail the longing aspect, and that's necessary for the buildup. This movie does not have that problem. We can clearly tell how much John and Claire like each other, but Claire is saddled with sack. Jeremy is having the worst night of his life, while John is simply trying to figure out a way to get the girl he wants. Jeremy is being abused all night long. Now, first, Gloria ties him up. He wakes up out of his sleep, tied up and gagged with his gym socks that he wore to play football. And she forces him into a sexual interaction. I don't think that was the best. I mean, it was played for laughs, but I was not a fan of that. We see that Gloria is just like that, but I wish they had shown in some way that he consented to it, or maybe he had a moment where he was like, you know what, why not? I'm already here, and it had been consensual, because I genuinely did not like that. That is like torture. That's literal torture. And so she finishes and she leaves him there, but she doesn't untie him. Gloria is crazy. And then Jeremy wakes up again, and her little brother Todd, who it has been rumored that he is gay and he's closeted. And he all but confirmed it to Jeremy at the dinner table when he said, I'm going to go paint. And then he looks Jeremy in the eyes and goes, homo things. Now listen, I don't care what you are. Does your artwork have to be identified by your sexuality? Like, I have a YouTube, a heterosexual YouTube. Like, I don't know that that's necessary. It could just not be anything. And so he comes in there and he reveals the homo things painting that he painted for Jeremy. And it's Jeremy frolicking in the forest naked. And he's like, it's the most terrifying painting I've ever seen. And then he's on top of Jeremy, who's tied up from Gloria, and he's being inappropriate with him. And he's like, let's play tummy sticks. And William Cleary comes in to check on him, and Todd hides in the closet, not before threatening to tell the whole family that they're together. And they're not. And Jeremy is just like, leave me alone. And so when Secretary Cleary comes in, he's like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, I just have night terrors. I'm sorry. And he's like, because he looks at the ropes. He's like, why are you tied up? And he's like, I have night terrors. And he's like, okay. Now, I would have stopped and said, William Cleary, your son is in the closet. Your daughter has been sexually assaulting me all night. I want out. I'm scared. Can't sleep in a room with you. Like, I would have tried to get out of that interaction in some kind of way. And so as Secretary Cleary leaves, then Todd comes out of the closet, and Jeremy's like, you know what, let's not do this tonight. And I can't remember how he manipulated him, but he tricks Todd into leaving so he can finally get some sleep. But he is unhappy. He's had the worst night of his life. The next morning, he wakes up to John, who had a great night's sleep, who's eating food, and it's a lot of food. Every time I watch the scene, I have to have some sunflower seeds or some grapes or something on me to snack, because if not, I'll go make a whole meal. It makes me hungry every time I see this scene. And so he walks downstairs. He's exhausted, and he's like, John, you need to wrap this up. We got to go. And he's like, no, I still got a little bit more time. And that's when Jeremy's like, we have never done this much for a lady. Like, you are falling for her. And he's like, no, I don't even know her. How can that be? Okay, fourth grader. But he's like, you've got the rest of today, and then we're going. So John agrees. After breakfast, they go sailing with the family, and Sack doesn't go because he's still sick, which gives John and Claire a moment to talk. But remember, at the wedding, John lied to William Cleary, Claire's dad, about being a sailor. So a couple of times, William Cleary asked John to do something because he thought he knew how to, sail a boat, and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And it's so bad. At one point, he's kicking this man's boat. And so Claire goes over to help him, and she teaches him how to do whatever, jib boom or something. I don't know, child. I don't know. I could barely get in a canoe. I'm not getting in no sailboat. So she teaches him what to do. And they sit there and they have a moment where they're about to talk. Now, originally this scene, they actually have dialogue and they connect again. But in editing, they decided to take the conversation out and just leave it at like they were about to start talking. And there's like, again, more longing. And then her father pulls John away to tell him another story or something. And so he leaves Claire there by herself. I also wonder if, because everybody could tell that Claire had feelings for John, and William Cleary clearly likes Sack because he and his family, their families are friends. I wonder if he noticed that and pulled John away on purpose. That was always the energy that I was getting. That's the impression I got. And so he leaves Claire there and they don't have a moment to talk. So as they're getting off the boat, William Cleary had told John about a little beach near the house. And so he's like, oh, I would love to check that out. And so he was telling Claire, and she said, Ashley, it would be a nice bike ride. Why don't we do that? And so they dock. And as they're getting off the boat, John is like, this is my moment alone with Claire. We're going to ride our bikes to the beach and then we'll be at the beach alone, away from Sack. Finally, again, Claire is the villain. Like, sure, John is manipulating her and he's lying to her, but he's actually showing his real self, but under the guise of this character, but he's not faking who he is. But still, he still lied about who he was so he could come to the wedding. But Claire is a girlfriend. Like, she has a boyfriend. Her boyfriend is staying with her family. She is in a committed 3.5-year relationship. You have no business flirting with this man, especially to this extent to where you're actually going on a date. Like, is no one else concerned about this? Like, you didn't even invite a couple of cousins or something to make it look more casual. You didn't even try to fill the space up. Like, girl, you was just out with it. Like, this my new man. And what? City Girls up one, I guess. So they're headed out, and that's when Sack meets them on the dock. And he's like, it's time for the quail hunt. And Bradley Cooper, the king that you are, that man is a psycho, and you can see it in the eyes. He's like, it's time for the quail hunt. Okay.
No, I'm great. Honey, I'm great. Oh, I'm going. Right? Right?
This scene is everything. So everybody's like, okay, Sack, we'll go on the quail hunt. And they go on the quail hunt. During the quail hunt, Jeremy accidentally gets shot with a bunch of buckshots meant for the quail. Now, the way they shoot this scene is so freaking funny to me. I scream at the way they have Owen Wilson shoot out of the way because his gun is so powerful and the buckshots accidentally shoot Jeremy. Now, Sack and his friends did it on purpose, but they were trying to shoot both of them. Sack is very well aware that John is pushing up on Claire. And so he's trying to shoot him with a couple of buckshots. They're not real bullets, but they will kill a bird. They won't kill a human. But they will get stuck in you and they have to be removed. As they're shooting the quail, John's gun goes off, but it's so powerful, it shoots him out of the way. And that's when Sack and his friends who are trying to shoot both of them, all of them shoot Jeremy in the butt. And the way Bradley Cooper laughs in this scene, like,
Oh, shit. They got me!
Oh, shit.
oh shit, I did not mean to do that. It sounds so real. When they get back, Jeremy now has to get all of his buckshots removed by Gloria. She's such a doting girlfriend and he wants out of this, but every day is something else. So because Jeremy is out of commission, John and Claire go alone to the beach and they ride their bikes to the beach. And this whole scene, the song playing, everything about it is very cute. And so they connect. And on the beach, it starts to become abundantly clear that Claire, if we weren't already sure before, she is miserable with Sack. He is nothing like she is. And she's dating him because it's what she knows. And it seems like she's dating him because it's pressure from her family. They met during Habitat for Humanity, and his father and her father are friends, and they just have these things in common. He understands her world in a certain way. And I think she expected to grow to love him in a certain way. I think she expected at some point I'll get it. So I'm just going to stick with what's familiar. That's the energy I got. But it's clear in this season, she hates him. Like, she doesn't like that man. He is not fulfilling to her. He's not kind to her. And she can't be herself around him. But with John, she can be herself. Now, I'm going to say this, Claire, it doesn't matter who's up next. If you're not happy, leave. It's always okay to go back to being single. It is, you were born in this world alone unless you're a twin or more. But you can be single. You don't have to wait for someone to take you away from your partner. You should leave your partner, find yourself, heal, and then go back into the dating scene with better perspective. You should not overlap, but you also don't have to wait for overlap to leave. That's what I don't like about her, is that she's waiting to be rescued. She want to be Princess Peach so bad, and I'm just not into that. Like, you owe it to Sack, even though he's an asshole. You committed to him. You owe it to him to break up with him. You shouldn't have to break up with him because someone else came along. You should break up with him. Full stop. And so as she's sitting there with John on the beach, they're playing this hand game where you try to slap each other's hands and things like that. Just a little flirting game that people play when they want to hug and touch. And so at one point, the conversation gets kind of deep and she kisses John. Claire has a boyfriend. And yes, the movie does an excellent job of making us hate Zach, but he's still in a committed relationship. He also cheats on her, and we find that out later. Both two wrongs don't make a right, though. Claire should have just broken up with Zach. You sitting at the beach kissing this man, that man back at the house with your family. It's not cute. It's not cute at all. So she's kissing on him, and it's not clear how far the relationship went. Now, my personal belief is they went all the way. And here's why I think that. Because the movie intentionally shows us Jeremy and Gloria went all the way on the beach. So that is something that this family does, or something that is not too far out of the norm. So I don't find it to be a coincidence that John and Claire end up at the beach and then we don't know how far they went. But if you see the scene, she is leaning her body into him. It's not like they're just sitting in place kissing. She is like in his space and pursuing something. I don't think it ended where it was. I think they went all the way. That's just my belief. So the movie never clarifies, and we're not sure how far they went, but it's clear they connected. The kiss was enough. Even if they didn't do more than kiss, that's more than enough because you're in a relationship. Now, John is in love. Earlier in the movie, when they discussed marriage, she said outright, not soon, not anytime soon. We have a lot of things we want to accomplish. So clearly marriage is not on her radar right now. And he didn't even respect that. He's competing for her, but he doesn't like her. He doesn't love her. She's a conquest because he's competitive. Again, everything he does for Claire just falls into him being a competitive asshole. She ain't nothing but a pigskin to him. John is heartbroken. Right before this, we saw Jeremy and Gloria talking, and Jeremy finally decided to just be honest with Gloria. He's like, listen, I know that you have a lot of feelings for me because you lost your virginity to me, but I promise you with time, that will go away. And Gloria's like, oh, wait, I lied about that. I just thought guys like to hear that. I wasn't a virgin. And she was like, Jeremy, what the hell? He is so intrigued by being manipulated by her that this fool falls in love. He met his match. Claire's sitting outside in the swing. She is sick. You could tell she wants to cry. Like, it's just all coming to a head. And John runs out and he's like, didn't you feel something? Like, you can't marry him. And she was like, why not? And he was like, because I'm in love with you. And she was like, that's crazy. I don't even know you. Like, mind you, they met the day before. Claire was just wanting an out. And it's then that he's like, oh, I got to tell you the truth. So he's ready to tell her everything so that they can start fresh. But it's then that gunshots ring out from the house, and Jeremy comes running out because their old greasy granny with the hole in her panty is shooting at him with a shotgun, and the family is chasing her down like, stop shooting at him. Now, Jeremy's response to this, he was like, this is the real world, lady. You can't just go shooting at people. Why is she shooting at him? Earlier in the day, Zach was determined to get John and Jeremy out of there. So he called a friend of his and asked for a private investigator to look into them. And of course, their wedding crashing was revealed. At the same time, Jeremy was talking to the priest after Gloria confessed that she lied to him. And he's working through his feelings with the priest about being in love with Gloria and the way he treats this priest and makes this priest drink with him, drink alcohol. Vince Vaughn, you going to hell. But anyway, after Zach gets a phone call from the private investigator with the results, he tells the whole family, or he tells everybody. And so as John is about to confess to Claire everything, Jeremy runs out getting shot at. There's a whole confrontation, and that's when Zach beats up John, and Claire has to take him off of John, but he beats him up, and he was like, are you going to tell the truth? And so he tells the whole family they're not who they say they are. They're wedding crashers. They crash weddings to sleep with girls. Claire is heartbroken, so she looks at John and she's like, is this true? And he was like, with shades of gray, and she is heartbroken. Here's what does not make sense to me. And maybe this is just a rich people thing. Like, y'all just do shit out in the open. You don't care. Zach looks at Claire and goes, he made a fool of you, sweetie.
I'm proud of you, Claire. Sweetheart.
First of all, so clearly it was just a competition for Zach. He's not tripping on the fact that, oh, my girlfriend, someone I love, is falling for someone else and I have to win her heart back. He's just like, I won. This is a game to me. He has zero feelings attached to this because he's literally saying, I know you were in love with him, but he made a fool of you. Now come on back and marry me. Like, he doesn't give a shit that she cheated on him and that she was falling in love with someone. That should bother you if you love your partner. This man was just competitive. It's very weird. Like, she was just cheating on him. cheating on him with her family present. Like, Claire is a savage. City Girl's up too. So anyway, Claire goes in the house. She is heartbroken, but I will say the outfit they had Rachel McAdams in this scene is so freaking cute, including the one that she wore to the beach, also so cute. The family kicks them out and they're walking away with Jeremy is holding the painting that Todd gave him. That was a choice by Vince Vaughn, actually, which it's so funny. It adds to the humor in that scene. That scene cracks me up, and it's just them walking out in their wedding tuxes holding this picture, and they've just defeated. And we see a series of months go by where John is trying to get in touch with Claire. He's calling, he's sending gifts, he's writing letters, like he sent her a kitten, like he's throwing balloons. I mean, he's sending her balloons and stuffed animals. And he is really trying for months and months and months, and she is not talking to him. Jeremy finally tells John, like, you have to let this go. Something is not right. Like, you cannot do this. You have to move on. We don't win them all. And John is like, no, I'm going to be with her. And so he finds out where Claire's engagement party is, gets wait staff uniforms at the restaurant so that they can pretend to be part of the wait staff so that he can get Claire alone and talk to her. Jeremy is like, John, you cannot do this. And he's a man on a mission. He's clearly snapped. And Jeremy agrees. And it's kind of reminiscent of the scene earlier when Jeremy wanted to even go to the Cleary wedding and John was like, no. And finally he's just like, fine. So now it's the other way around. So Jeremy agrees, but something that Jeremy has not been telling John is that he and Gloria have been together behind John's back. So Jeremy has actually had access to Claire, but he wants John to let her go. And so he's been sneaking around with Gloria. The night of the engagement party, when John and Jeremy are supposed to be breaking in and crashing this engagement party, a little different for them. Jeremy is at home sleeping with Gloria and he loses track of time. John can see that Claire is miserable. Again, you don't have to do this. Even her father told her, like, your whole life is going to be fine. You make the best decisions you can with what you have. Girl, you hate this man. Leave him. Like, I don't understand. They should have given us more of a reason why she just couldn't simply break up with him. Because, girl, just break up with him. You should not be sitting at your restaurant, at your engagement party wanting to die. Like, it's just not that deep. It's never that deep. So anyway, she's depressed. And while she's sitting there completely disassociated, you hear Sack in the background wowing the crowd with another one of his stupid stories. So her dad notices she's depressed and he decides to dance with her to cheer her up, and they have a good time. And while they're dancing, John is in the window of the kitchen. He's still waiting on Jeremy to show up, but he's in the window of the kitchen just looking at Claire because it's the first time he's seen her in so long and he is in love with her. Sack spots him. So Sack and his friends drag John into the alley and beat his ass. And it is very much like an old mob movie. I love this scene. I love this scene a lot. I don't like seeing Owen Wilson get beat up. I love Owen Wilson so much, but this was just acting, so I can relax. He's also from Texas, so. But anyway, he gets beat up, and Sack looked good in that white suit. He was hanging that suit. Let me tell you, if y'all wanted us to hate Sack, y'all should have had somebody not as handsome as Bradley Cooper play that man. But anyway, him beating up Owen Wilson. Now, I don't like him beating up Owen Wilson, but he was wearing the nice suit. He's being all ultra masculine and just a little tinge of toxic. I said, oh. Security, it's the same scene, different day, very different day. And he's heartbroken. They're both heartbroken, but Jeremy focuses on Gloria. Now he keeps trying to make up with John. He's pursuing John the way John pursued Claire. And John is not talking to him. But Jeremy continues his relationship with Gloria, where he falls in love with her and he proposes to her. And they decide to get married. And this is the impetus for John and Jeremy making up. He finally crashes John's house. He just goes over there and he finally catches him. And he'd been going over there a lot and leaving notes on the door, and he'd never catch John. He finally manages to catch John. And he tells John, like, we need to make up. And they do. And it's going so well. And then suddenly he's like, so I'm getting married. And John goes, get out. The build up and the letdown of that scene is so perfect. It is the perfect scene. And it's clear that John has been feeling suicidal. Like, he's really been going through it. I mean, he lost his best friend and the woman he was in love with. Like, he's going through a lot right now. And we know that he doesn't have parents. So, like, John is a loner, which also explains why he probably attached to Claire so much. It probably felt like home to him, and he hadn't felt that in a long time. So they get into it again, and Jeremy's like, you need to get your ass to my wedding. you're going to be there. And John wants nothing to do with it. John then decides to go a different route. And he goes to find Jeremy's mentor, the man who created Crashing and Crash Weddings with Chaz. Now, again, Will Ferrell is absolutely hilarious in this scene. But basically, Will Ferrell is like crashing weddings. I crash funerals now. It's much, much better. And he's like, business is good. So they crashed a funeral. And it doesn't work well.
Damn you, Roger! Damn it! Damn you!
John is not liking this, but he looks up and he sees the widow as she's burying her husband, and she is heartbroken. And he realizes, like, I need to go be with my true love. I need to stop crashing. I need to be with my true love. So he goes to Jeremy's wedding. He was invited, but again, Gloria is Claire's sister. Claire's boyfriend or fiance, Zach, does not want John anywhere near Claire. And again, his soon-to-be father-in-law is Secretary Cleary. There's Secret Service at this wedding, just like there was at Christina's wedding. And when John walks in, they tackle John. And finally, Jeremy is like, no, let him in. That's the best man. That's the real love story of this movie. But anyway, I love that scene. So he walks up. He takes his stand next to Todd. I told you Todd is going to support his man. And so he takes his spot next to Todd. He apologizes for being late. And he's like, can I go ahead and get married now? And he's like, yeah. So the wedding begins and he starts like looking at Claire.
You look really pretty, but I can't stop thinking about you. It's all I think about, and I don't know what to do. God, I miss you.
He keeps talking to her so much so that Gloria is like, shut your ass up. The Cleary sisters are going to ruin each other's wedding. If they don't do nothing else, they're going to mess up each other's weddings. Claire, because it's someone else's wedding and she's the consummate middle child, ruins this wedding as well. She walks off the altar. She is the maid of honor. Now, in this scene, I do think they should have had Christina be the maid of honor because she was the bride in the first one. We would have been able to see how the roles shifted. I would have loved that. But anyway, John runs after her and he's like, I just want to talk. I just want to talk to you. And she turns around. Zach jumps up and is like, Claire, get your butt in that altar. And he is screaming at her like a child, and he's being very volatile. And he even accosted her dad. Her dad stood up and is like, listen, I'm behind my daughter. If she doesn't want to be with you, she doesn't have to be with you. Again, I knew he felt that way because that is how he presented himself the whole time. Claire, you could have just broken up with Zach. You didn't need John. Yes, John was great to show you what you were missing. But when John was no longer in the scene, you did not have to keep dating Zach. You could have just moved on. I don't get that. So anyway, we knew Secretary Clear would support her no matter what. So it was really weird that she just stayed in that miserable relationship. Like, they should have shown a stronger reason why she stayed. And Zach tells Secretary Clear, you don't know shit. I said, oh, he crazy. Do not talk to Christopher Walken like that. Now, I would have loved for Secret Service to whoop his ass in that scene, just me personally. But anyway, he jumps over the pew and starts running at John to beat him up again. And Jeremy comes down off the altar and knocks Zach flat on his back. It's great that he protected his friend John, but it's even better that he got to knock Zach out because if you recall during the touch tackle football game, Zach kept putting Jeremy on his butt. So it was a nice payback for several reasons. So it's this scene that Claire kisses John. So yes, she took the first kiss from her sister's wedding. She ruined her other sister's reception, ruined her other sister's vows. And in this one, she ruined her sister's wedding and she had the first kiss at the wedding. Claire is impossible. She's so freaking spoiled and inconsiderate of her sister. She is not a good sister. So Jeremy and Gloria finish their wedding. They're so in love and they leave. Claire and John hop into the car at the farewell for the bride and the groom. And I get why the movie wanted this, but no. Claire ruins her sister's weddings. She is so spoiled. She is the villain. They get in the car with the bride and groom and leave. Girl, y'all ain't married. Y'all should just went off into one of them little limos to have a conversation or something. Y'all should get your ass out the people's car. So they drive off and then they decide the four of them are going to go crash a wedding. And that's the end of Wedding Crashers. Those are my thoughts. This excellent cast, excellent movie, very funny, great writing, excellent directing. 10s across the board. I cannot say enough wonderful things about Wedding Crashers. And as much as I would have loved a sequel, I'm glad we don't have one, because where would the story have gone? And what I would have loved is a prequel. I would have loved a Wedding Crashers prequel with Chaz and the guys. That would have been nice, but such is life. So that's all I have for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed today's recap. If you have not already, please leave me your comments in the comment section below. What do you think about Wedding Crashers? What are your takeaways from today's recap, but also the movie? What's your favorite part of this movie? And what is your favorite quote from Wedding Crashers? Please let me know, because there's 1,000,001 quotes there could be. That's all I have. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you have not already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.